State University, the faculty, staff, or students. This is Mustang Radio.
Mustang Radio, Marshall. Good evening, and welcome to another live edition of Sports Live with your host, Zach Huntley. I am here alone tonight as Tyler, unfortunately, went to the Vikings game. We'll get to that later. Went to the Vikings game yesterday and had some car trouble, so he's not going to make it tonight. So it'll be just me tonight, and we got loads, well, not loads to talk about, but a little bit to talk about tonight. Starting off between here and 8, from the top of the hour here at 8 till about 8:30, we'll talk Major League Baseball and Twins Baseball with the pennant chases coming after. 1 week to go in Major League Baseball. We'll talk about that, see how the Twins did this weekend since we were last on. And then see how they're doing tonight in the chase for the second wild card spot. After that, we will take probably a couple more breaks tonight than usual since I am by myself, so we'll take a few more extra breaks than usual. From 8:30 to 9 o'clock, yesterday, the Tour Championship and FedEx Cup Championship ended, so we are going to do a 2014-2015 PGA Tour season in review, talk about all the good, the bad. It was a pretty good season. Was expected to be a really good season. We'll talk through that. And, of course, from 9 to about 9:50, we'll recap the Week 3 NFL games, talk about all the good and the bad and the ugly that happened this weekend in the NFL. And then, of course, Wednesday will be our pick'em and also talk college football then. So we're going to get started with the pennant chases in Major League Baseball. Teams that clinched in the last few days or playoffs. So the entire National League, I believe, is now done. I'm going to go quickly and look. The NL East, of course, was won by the New York Mets. They, I believe, clinched Saturday night. Yeah, they clinched Saturday night, clinched the division Saturday night, overtaking the Washington Nationals. That division finished like this, the Mets winning the division at 89-67 so far. Washington finishing 9 games behind at 80-76. Miami finishing 20 games behind at 69-87. The Atlanta Braves finishing 27 games back at 62-94. And the Philadelphia Phillies finishing 30 games behind at 59-97. In the NL Central, the St. Louis Cardinals, Pittsburgh Pirates, and Chicago Cubs all clinched playoff spots. However, the Pittsburgh Pirates and St. Louis Cardinals are still going after the division. The Cubs cannot win the division, but they are in the playoffs. Most likely, it looks like St. Louis will probably end up winning the division. But as it goes right now, St. Louis is 98-58. 3 games behind them is Pittsburgh at 95-61. 7.5 games behind St. Louis is the Cubs at 90-65. 32 games back is the Milwaukee Brewers at 66-90, and 35 games back is the Cincinnati Reds at 63-93. In the NL West, it looks like the Los Angeles Dodgers are going to win that one. Also, they have their magic number is 2. They are leading the NL West with an 87-68 record. The San Francisco Giants are 6 games behind at a record of 81-74. They pretty much need a sweep of the last 7 games and hope the Dodgers lose all 7. That's pretty much the only way they're going to do it. Otherwise, it's not looking likely. It looks like the Dodgers will win the division there. The Arizona Diamondbacks finished 12.5 games behind right now at 75-81. San Diego is 14.5 games behind at 73-83. And the Colorado Rockies are 21.5 games behind at 66-90. Now, in the American League, it's interesting. The Kansas City Royals, they already won the division at 90-65. They beat the Twins, who were in second, 10 games back at 80-75. Cleveland is 12.5 games behind at 75-75. The White Sox are 17.5 games behind at 73 and 83, and the Detroit Tigers are 18 games back at 72 and 83. That's the only division that's wrapped up in the American League. Toronto in the AL East has already clinched a playoff berth, but they have not won the division. Their magic number is 4 games. Over the New York Yankees, who are 86 and 69. The Blue Jays are 90 and 65. 14 games behind the Blue Jays are the Baltimore Orioles at 76 and 79. The Boston Red Sox are 15 games behind at 75 and 80. And the Tampa Bay Rays are 15.5 games behind at 75 and 81. So Toronto has 4 games, hopefully, to clinch that division. And probably the closest out of all of them is the AL West, with the Texas Rangers leading that division at 84 and 71 right now. The Houston Astros right now are 82 and 74. They are the second wild card holder right now. The first is the Yankees at 86 and 69. They are 2.5 games behind Texas. 3 games behind Texas is the Los Angeles Angels are 81 and 74, who are a full game ahead of the Twins in that, but it should close in here later tonight, as both of the teams the Twins are chasing after are on the West Coast, so they'll be late games as the Twins are playing right now. So we were last on Wednesday. The Twins did win 4-2 there. Hughes pitched an incredible game. They ended up winning 4-2 there. Thursday, Twins battling again Cleveland and just didn't get nothing really going. I mean, just kind of struggled. Gibson giving up some plays early. Started in the first inning. Gibson gave up a home run to Jason Kipnis, and then he would give up 2 more runs in the first inning, and then a 3-run homer in the top of the third inning for Gibson. So Gibson ended up giving up 6 runs that night. And then the Twins finally got on the board as Torrey Hunter in the bottom of the 7th inning came up to bat.
Time this year, it'll be his 100th. There's a blast to left field. Torrey sends one high and deep and gone, and the Twins are on the board. Number 22 for Torrey Hunter, and it's 6-1.
So that got the game to 6-1. And then in the bottom of the 8th inning, the Twins got their other 2 runs with Rosario up to bat.
Trigger to get him to be effective up here.
I don't think Shaw ever.
Here's a drive to deep right field. Rosario has another one. He looked like he got fooled on that pitch and still pulled it into the seats for a 2-run home run.
And home run number 12 on the year for Eddie Rosario.
So that got the game to 6-3, and then the Twins could not get closer to the lead, so they did fall 6-3, which I believe got them to a game behind there, as the Angels, I believe, won that. Or the Angels didn't play that night, so the Angels got closer to them. Friday was a critical start to the end of the year as the Twins headed on the road for a weekend series in Detroit. And, the game looked like it was all Minnesota. I mean, it looked like Minnesota was going to do something, and unfortunately, the Minnesota ended up getting off to a great start here, and in the it was a close game through 4 innings, tied at 0, and then the 5th inning came with the bases loaded and Eddie Rosario up to bat.
Breaking ball blasted to right center field. Going back is Goes. Still going back. And it is gone. No. It is in play. And Rosario to third. He's got a 3-run triple.
And guess what? Another triple.
Below the yellow line and back onto the field of play.
So Rosario would get a triple to get it to 3-0. Escobar would fly out and score Rosario to get it to 4-0. The Tigers would get it to 4-1, and then 4-2 in the bottom of the 7th, and then with, I believe, with Perkins on the mound, he would walk Cabrera. He'd walk Miguel Cabrera on 4 straight pitches, and then Victor Martinez came up to bat.
Trying to find a gap somewhere. Here it is. Line drive, base hit, left center field. That's going to tie the game. Cabrera's on his way to third base, and he's in there, and Martinez has a double. It's a 4-4 game.
So Perkins would give up 2 runs there to tie the game. He got two guys, or one guy ended up getting to second base. They thought they'd bunt. He struck out 2 guys, and then Rajai Davis came up to bat and gave Minnesota the dagger in the back.
Fly ball right field, hit pretty good. Hunter going back to the wall, and Rajai's hit it out, it's gone! He hit it out to right field! Rajai Davis, a 2-run shot the other way off Perkins, and the Tigers have the lead!
Oh, what a day for Rajai.
So Perkins' second half struggles continued as the Twins would go on to lose 6-4 and go on a 2-game losing streak, and not the start that they wanted on the road series, because they knew they needed every game, and they need every game counts. So they knew they wanted that one and didn't get that one. Saturday, another good game there. Tyler Duffy, another young rookie star, came out and just pitched a great game. Twins would win 6-2 in that ball game. Sano would reach on a fielding error, which would score Dozier to get to 1-0. Dozier in the third inning would fly out or have a sacrifice fly, and Escobar would score to get it to 2-0. Castellano would get it back at 2-1. James McCann would then single to get it to 2-2 tie. And then the 7th inning is where the seventh and ninth inning are where the Twins came out and took over the game, as started with Kurt Suzuki in the 7th inning. If I can find it, there we go.
One of his biggest RBIs in this at bat. Base hit to left. Hunter to third. They're going to wave him around. Davis comes up throwing, and the throw is offline, and Suzuki drives in a big run, his 49th of the year.
And again, another good at-bat against Simon.
So Suzuki would get the Twins up 3-2, and then Escobar would ground out into a force out to get it to 4-2. And then in the 9th inning, Escobar would officially pretty much end the game. Well, game doesn't end until, all 3 outs, but pretty much ended it with this at bat in the 9th inning.
1-1. Deep to left field. Davis going back. Gone! A home run for Escobar.
I tell you what, Eduardo Escobar has gotten some big hits for the Twins. Looked like a breaking ball, hung right there.
Escobar would hit a 2-run homer to get the game to 6-2, and that would end the game as Kevin Jepsen would come in and end that one. So the Twins won 6-2 there on the hands of Tyler Duffy, the young rookie star. Sunday afternoon game, well, the Twins had Irvin Santana on the mound, and as of late, that pretty much means a victory. And that's exactly what would happen. And the Twins didn't wait long to get things going as the 2nd inning came around, and the Twins decided to score a few runs against the left-handed Randy Wolf. And it all started with Kurt Suzuki in the 2nd inning.
To the Twins catcher. Get down the left field line and down for a hit. Rounding third, Nunez is coming home, and Suzuki delivers another big hit. putting the Twins up 1-0.
Good read by Nunez right there.
So Suzuki would single in Nunez to get it to 1-0, and then Byron Buxton came up to the plate.
And now coming up here with one strike in the second inning. And a liner to left center field. It's down for a hit. Running towards the gap. Escobar scores. Suzuki to second on a double by Byron Buxton, and it's 2-0.
Well, he went down and got that breaking ball, lined it in the.
So Buxton would double to get it to 2-0, get runners into second and third, and then Brian Dozier came up to the plate. I believe later in the at-bat, or later in the inning.
The Tigers must not feel like they are going to be helping down the line. There's a base hit down the line, and it'll score two. All the way to the corner. Dozier has a pair of hits and a two-run double, and it's a 4-0 Twins lead.
Right, left up pitch up right there, and Dozier.
So Dozier would score two to get it to 4-0, and then Aaron Hicks would single in Dozier to get it to 5-0. And then Hunter came up and singled in Hicks to get it to 6-0. So the Twins had a 6-run second inning. And that was all Irvin Santana needed, as he put on dominant work, as he only gave up one run. And then in the eighth inning, Byron Buxton got his first home run.
Byron, congratulations.
If he can catch up to his fastball.
A drive to left field. Going back is Collins. This one back, and it is gone. Byron Buxton hit his first Major League home run.
So Buxton would hit his first Major League home run, and that gave the Twins a 7-1 lead, as Santana would go 7 innings, giving up only one run, and the Twins got their 80th win of the year, and I believe that's like 16 games better than they did last year. I called 80 wins at the beginning of the year, so, that's looking good right now. And then tonight, right now it is the top of the 7th inning. Game started out in the first inning. Dozier would get out. Mauer would then double to the left field gap, or left center gap, excuse me. And then Miguel Sano came up to the plate.
A drive to left center field and deep. Halfway up the wall, Sano drives Mauer in, and a pair of two-out doubles by Mauer and Sano as the Twins on the board.
What seemed like.
And then Trevor Plouffe came up and wanted a piece of the hitting action.
He talked about that. I wanted that first run on the board because the percentages were in my favor to win the ballgame.
Another one lifted to deep left center field. Plouffe goes deep, and it's 3-0 Twins.
So the Twins would go up 3-0 after the Sano double and the Trevor Plouffe 2-run homer. Cleveland would get on the board with a Francisco Lindor home run in the bottom of the first. In the top of the fourth, Brian Dozier would fly out to center field. Rosario would score to get it to 4-1. And then in the bottom of the sixth here, not too long ago, the Indians would score again. Lindor would ground out to Escobar, and Kipnis would score. So it is right now 4-2 in the top of the seventh. I believe. Nope, Boyer ended up coming in late. Malone went 5 2/3 inning and gave up 4 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned runs, 4 strikeouts, and a home run. Corey Kluber for Cleveland went 6 innings, gave up 7 hits, 4 runs, 4 earned runs, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts, and a home run also. So both teams are in their bullpens in the top of the 7th inning right now. Looking ahead to other teams, or other games going on right now, Boston is up 4-1 over the New York Yankees. The typical final week Yankees-Red Sox rivalry always happens. A-Rod flew out to score Ellsbury to get the Yankees up 1-0. Travis Shaw had a home run to right field to score him and Bogarts to go up 2-1. And then Jackie Bradley Jr. homered to left for another 2-run homers to again, Red Sox up 4-1 in the top of the 8th. In Pittsburgh, the St. Louis Cardinals and the Pittsburgh Pirates are playing, again, for the division. So every win counts both ways, and that is a scoreless game right now in the top of the 7th, excuse me. It looks like St. Louis has first and third with 2 outs and an 0-2 count, so that game's going to be close throughout the night. Toronto on the road facing Baltimore. That game is tied at 3 right now. Scoring plays there if they pop up. Edwin Encarnacion hit his 36th home run in the 2nd inning to give Toronto a 1-0 lead. Ryan Flaherty hit his 9th home run to give Baltimore a 3-1 lead. Ben Revere, former Twins, singled on a line drive to center field to score 1, to cut the lead, or Baltimore's lead, to 3-2, and then Jose Bautista singled to right to tie the game up at 3. So that game is tied in the bottom of the 8th. In the bottom of the 4th in Texas, the Detroit Tigers traveled to Texas. Texas needs every win they can get, as they are looking at trying to win the division. Detroit and Texas tied at 1. Miguel Cabrera ended up walking with the bases loaded to score a runner to get 1-0, and then Prince Fielder in the bottom of the 4th hit his 23rd home run to right field to tie that game up. So that is in the bottom of the 4th, 1-1 tie in Texas. In the 6th inning, the Kansas City Royals are on the road taking on the Chicago Cubs, and I'm thinking Jose Ventura, but it is not Jose Ventura. It is not Jose Ventura. It is Yordano Ventura, excuse me. He is right now throwing a perfect game right now. He's thrown 5 innings right now, 5 innings of perfect game ball right now. No walks. He's struck out 4 guys so far. I believe this is Kyle Hendricks is on the mound for the Cubs. He's given up no runs also with only 2 hits, so that game is scoreless in Chicago. They are tied at 0. And the funny thing is that the Kansas City Royals record is 90-65. They are tied for the best record, I believe, still with Toronto. Yes, they are tied with Toronto with the best record in the American League. The Cubs are 90-65, and they're not even close to the best record in the National League. So, I mean, you can tell the difference between the American League and National League right now. One final score, the Washington Nationals, who were eliminated from playoff contention this last weekend, they won 5-1 with Max Scherzer going, I believe he went like 7 shutout innings, or 7 perfect innings, or no-hit innings. Yeah, he went 7 no-hit innings, gave up 1 run late, but Washington, again, are done for the year. There was a interesting thing that happened, I believe, yesterday. Bryce Harper was up and hit a pop fly and didn't run it out, and Nationals closer Jonathan Papelbon yelled at some profanity at him and told him to run it out with multiple other words, and they kind of got into a skirmish. Papelbon has been suspended the rest of the year. I think it was 4 games from Washington, and then the Major League Baseball suspended him the other 3. So all 7 games. The rest of this, Papelbon has been suspended. Wouldn't be shocked if he's not there next year. Another kind of ceremonial thing that happened this weekend, the Giants were on the road in Oakland, and Barry Zito went back to Oakland. Tim Hudson in his final year in San Francisco, and then also Mark Mulder came in. They celebrated the Big 3 return, as back in the early 2000s when Oakland had all their runs that they had the Big 3, just like Atlanta had in the 90s. The Big 3 and Mark Mulder, Barry Zito, and Tim Hudson, they celebrated that. And both teams did a good gesture by starting Barry Zito on Saturday to take on his former Big 3 partner, Tim Hudson. So both ended up playing or starting on the mound on Saturday. Both got standing ovations when they came off the mound. It was one of those special times that they had, and really good to see that happen, because I mean, not many of those things those things happen. And for Oakland, that was the time when they were really, really good and relevant. And they wanted to relive those with these guys that are retired. Mulder's been retired for, I believe, 2 or 3 years, and now these guys are retiring. So they wanted to do a special deal with that. An update in the Cubs-Kansas City game, Jorge Soler singled to center field and broke up the no-hitter in perfect game from Yordano Ventura. So that is no longer happening. Twins are still up 4-2. That's going into the bottom of the 7th inning. And we'll get to that, or we'll keep you updated on that. We're going to take a song break and then come back with commercials and have some live PSA. So it'll be about a 4 to 5 minute break. Take a break here. Let me kind of open up the mouth. Long talking here, and then we'll come back and talk PGA Tour golf. And I talk about the year that was 2015. This is Sports Live on Mustang Radio. It is that time. We are going to do the review of the 2014-2015 PGA Tour year, and what a year it was. Man, it was quite the interesting year. 2014 ended in a disappointing fashion for Team USA in the Ryder Cup. They lost to Europe. I believe it was by like 4 or 5 points. Very dominating fashion by Europe. In Europe, of course. The 2016 Ryder Cup will be here in Minnesota at Chaska. That'll be fun, and hoping I get tickets. So we'll see how that goes. After that came the fall events. No one really big played in them. One big winner did win, Sang Moon Bae, who's leading a Hungary international team. They do play in a couple weeks, so that's about the last big event left in this season. And then coming into December was the WGC HSBC Champions. Bubba Watson won that one in dramatic fashion. He came to the 72nd hole and ended up chipping in out of the bunker for birdie to go to a playoff with Tim Clark. He would then make a birdie putt on the first playoff hole to defeat Tim Clark for his first win of the 2014-15 season. Later came Jordan Spieth winning Tigers event, the Hero World Challenge. That was in his backyard, backyard. Spieth looked really dominant and pretty much dominated that short 15-man tourney. Tiger, it was his return for the first time since his miscut from the year before when Rory McIlroy had the summer, as we called it, winning the Open and the PGA Championship, and also the Bridgestone Invitational in between that. Tiger last played before his tournament was the PGA Championship, where he missed the cut and also had back injury with that. Tiger came back and played in his tournament, struggled, and pretty much a common theme through the season. So the first tournament to open up the 2015 season was the Hyundai Tournament of Champions. All the champions from the year before are the only ones that can play in it. Patrick Reed would win in a playoff over Jimmy Walker. Jimmy Walker would get his revenge next week when he won the Sony Open in Hawaii. Both events were in Hawaii. And then it finally came back to the mainland, to the Humana Challenge, which is in, I believe, California. Bill Haas would win that. Brooks Koepka would win the Waste Management Phoenix Open. That was also Tiger Woods' debut of the 2015 season, and was a very disappointing debut, as you could say. Struggled. He had the, as we call it, the chipping yips. but just couldn't do anything. And on a golf course as easy as it was, he managed to finish, as I could find that, and get the leaderboard up. I believe he shot 14 over, if I remember right. And a golf course that, I mean, most of us amateurs and that could probably go out and shoot 14 over too. Very, not that difficult of a course. He finished, let's see here. He finished, 73-82, which I believe is a 14 over score, somewhere around there. Had the chipping yips, had a bunch of other stuff too that just didn't go well. So Brooks Koepka would win the Waste Management. The next week, the Farmers Insurance Open, Tiger played again, looking like maybe people would think he'd do something. He played 12 holes and withdrew due to his back injury, or back having a flare-up again. Glutes didn't fire, and it was a disappointing outing. Jason Day would win the Farmers Insurance Open. I believe came down to the final hole. He'd end up winning that one. The AT&T Pebble Beach National Pro-Am, one of the, even if you're not a huge golf fan, one of the best events to watch, because not only did you get to watch the pros play, but you get to watch a bunch of celebrities play. I mean, you got Boomer, Chris Berman, excuse me, I can't even talk right now. Chris Berman plays in it. Tony Romo usually plays in it. Didn't play this year. Jerry Rice, a lot of ex-football stars, basketball stars, baseball players play in it. Celebrities all galore play in it. It's a fun event to watch and exciting, and it's at historic Pebble Beach, so that makes it fun and exciting. Brent Snedeker would win that one. The Honda Classic was one of the more interesting tournaments. That one usually Tiger would play, and Tiger did take about a 3 to 4 month break. Padraig Harrington would win it, but it looked like Ian Poulter would win it, and just didn't get nothing going, and he kind of faltered late on Saturday. I believe it was Saturday. Was it Sunday night because of the weather delay? He would end up shanking one into the water and just never came back. That was also the week where Rory McIlroy started his season on the PGA Tour and missed the cut. Rory struggled to begin the season. I believe he also missed the cut at the WGC Cadillac Championship. That one, Dustin Johnson came off of a not a suspension. A lot of people said suspension. A lot of different things happened with him. He came back about a couple weeks prior, about a month and a half prior to that. The Farmers Insurance, he came and won the WGC Cadillac Championship, and that's at Trumpton Doral. Very good golf course. And then the Valspar Championship the next week. Jordan Spieth would win his first tournament of the year. I believe he defeated. Actually, it came down to a race with some big stars. I believe it came down to. Yeah, Patrick Reed and Henrik Stenson was there. Spieth would win in a playoff over Patrick Reed and Sean O'Hare for his first tournament of the year, and many to go. Another good one, the Arnold Palmer Invitational. Tiger, that was talk he'd return then, did not return. Matt Every would win that one. In another field that is usually very deep, Henrik Stenson had the lead, just didn't play well enough to win it. McIlroy, I think, played in it for the first time, I believe, this year. Was his first time. Yes, it was his first time playing in it, and I believe he actually struggled, if I remember right, if I look through here. I guess can't find it. I thought he might have made the cut, but I actually think he missed the cut in that one, too. Yeah, it looks like he missed the cut. They try to find his name here. It looks like he did, or he didn't play this year. I thought he played this year. Maybe barely. Okay, I can't find his name, but he did play. But Matt Every did win that. And then the Valro Texas Open, Jimmy Walker would win his second event. Shell Houston Open, Jordan Spieth would blow a 52-hole lead, and J.B. Holmes would win that. And then the first major of the year, the Masters, was up in April. Tiger Woods made his, and I would say his debut, I guess, again. Came back from his injury and played, and wow, it was what a ride it was. Played really well, didn't have the chipping yips, and actually had a chance to win it if it wasn't for Jordan Spieth going out and playing like a maniac out there. Just unbelievable. I believe he shot, was it 18 under, I think is where he finished. Yes, it was 18 under, which would tie the record, which was Tiger's at 18 under when he won in 1997. Phil Mickelson would finish in tied for second with Justin Rose. And then Rory McIlroy, who was paired with Tiger, finished in fourth at 12 under par. Tiger didn't hit his first fairway until the 12th hole and just kind of struggled, popped a bone out of his wrist, was injured again. So good week, bad week sort of for Tiger, but big week for Jordan Spieth as he won his second time. The next big tournament was the WGC Cadillac Match Play. About 3 weeks later, Rory McIlroy would win that one. As I don't know who he defeated, if I can find who he defeated here. I believe he defeated... Maybe we'll be able to find it. He defeated Gary Woodland 4-2 in the championship. Jim Furyk would lose 3-2 to Danny Willett. In the third place matchup, Jordan Spieth was, I believe, I don't even think he made it. No, he did not. Jordan Spieth did not make it to the round of 16, so he was eliminated after the first few days. So he struggled after his return after the Masters win. Rory would then win and then the Players was the next week, and Ricky Fowler, the guy who hasn't won on the PGA in about 5 years, would finally get his chance after having a lot of close calls, even in the majors. 2014, finishing the top 5 in every major. He ended up finally finishing one out at the Players Championship, defeating Sergio Garcia, and I can't think of the last name here as I find that. Let me find that here quickly. Maybe the internet just doesn't want to work now. There we go. He defeated Sergio Garcia and Kevin Kisner in a 4-hole playoff. Excellent week by Ricky Fowler, getting his first of 2 victories. As we get later on, he did win a second time. And then the Wells Fargo the next week is where Rory won his second time. David Lingmerth defeated Justin Rose at the Memorial. That was the next time we saw Tiger in a disastrous 4 days. He barely makes the cut and then shoots in career worst. I believe it was an 82 on Saturday. It just didn't look good. It was tough to watch. After that, the U.S. Open to Chambers Bay we go in Oregon, which was deemed one of the worst U.S. Opens. Couldn't tell what the greens were. Just kind of one of those odd ordeals. And Jordan Spieth made a birdie on the 72nd hole to take a one-shot lead. Dustin Johnson, who was one shot behind, hit a big drive down there. It was playing a par 5 on Sunday. It played alternate par 5, par 4 on different days, but played par 5 on Sunday. Dustin Johnson would hit an iron onto the green at about a 20-footer for eagle, missed the eagle putt. Not only did he miss the eagle putt, but he missed the birdie putt to lose the U.S. Open, another losing Open as he did in 2010 when he blew it. But so Jordan Spieth won the second leg of the majors. So all the talk then was, could he win the Grand Slam? And now he's got 2 of them. So Jordan Spieth would win the U.S. Open the next week. Bubba Watson getting his second victory of the year at the Travelers Championship, at a wet Travelers Championship, able to win in a playoff. The Greenbrier Classic, Tiger would return after the Memorial, played fairly well, I would say. Wasn't the greatest. It was okay, I guess you can say it. Tiger did miss the cut at the U.S. Open, played poorly, ended up losing clubs out of the rough. Yeah, it just wasn't good. So 2 straight, or another missed cut, and then he made the cut at the Greenbrier. Played pretty well. The next week, the John Deere Classic, Jordan Spieth would win that one for his 3rd victory of the year. Or was it his 3rd victory of the year? 4th victory, no. 4th victory of the year, excuse me. That was his 4th victory of the year. And then the next week, the Open Championship at St. Andrews. Tiger, again, missing the cut there, struggled to get anything going. It was, again, at the home of golf where Tiger has won 2 Open Championships, but just couldn't do it again. Jordan Spieth missed out on a playoff by 1 shot as he hit it into a spot you can't hit it on the 18th and just couldn't get up and down. It was between Zach Johnson, I think it was Jason Day also was in that. Jason Day was in all the majors, played well in all the majors, had a he had a problem with some illness or something at the U.S. Open and struggled there afterwards. He was in a playoff with Louis Oosthuizen and Mark Leishman. Both Day and Spieth came up short to get into the playoff. Zach Johnson would win the playoff in 3 holes and win the Claret Jug. So it was Spieth winning the first 2, Zach Johnson winning the 3rd one, the leg of the majors. Jason Day would win the RBC Canadian Open for another victory for him. Next time we saw Tiger was at the Quicken Loans National, which he hosts that one too. Played okay, made the cut. Actually had a shot on the weekend and kind of fell off the face of the earth, or not off the face of the earth, just didn't quite have enough. Troy Merritt would win that one. The WGC Bridgestone Invitational was next week. After that, Shane Lowry would win that one. Tiger could not play because he was not in the top 50 in the world. After that, the PGA Championship headed to Whistling Straits in Wisconsin. Again, Jordan Spieth, the talk there. Rory McIlroy coming off of an ankle injury. He missed the Open Championship, so he didn't get to defend his Open Championship, but was able to try to defend his PGA Championship. Wasn't able to. Spieth battled Jason Day out all the way, but Jason Day played outstanding, winning his first major and his, I believe, 3rd victory of the year. Yes, 3rd victory of the year. Then the Wyndham Championship next week is the last time we got to see Tiger Woods for the 2015 season, and it looked like maybe we'd see the old Tiger and see a victory. And he had a shot on Sunday, but just couldn't do anything. Played pretty steady golf, except 1 hole made triple. Kind of ended his run. Davis Love III would be the oldest to win a tournament as he won the Wyndham Championship. Then the FedEx Cup playoffs started. 4 weeks of grueling golf, trying to get inside each cut that they had. The Barclays, Jason Day would win his 4th tournament of the year. He would move into the number 1 player in the world after that. And then Ricky Fowler won the he'd be close to the number 1, I believe. And then the Deutsche Bank, 2 weeks later, Deutsche Bank Championship, Ricky Fowler defeated Henrik Stenson on the 72nd hole to win that one. Stenson blew the lead late on 16 when he hit in the water and made double. So Ricky Fowler won that one. And then the BMW Championship, Jason Day just absolutely obliterated the field and defeated that one. So he was on top, world number 1. He ended up getting to the 3rd ranked when he won the Barclays. Got to world number 1 at the BMW. And then last week at the Tour Championship, came down to a really rainy week, and Jordan Spieth would last out and win the $10 million FedEx Cup Championship and the Tour Championship for his 5th win of the year. He'll most likely be named Player of the Year, and a bunch of other medals he'll get for the incredible season he had. A lot of people talking about how maybe he had a better season than Tiger did in 2000. Absolutely false, because as statistics shows, Tiger just tormented the fields in that year and could have won all 4. He had a real shot to win all 4. So did Jordan, but it was just ridiculous. Both seasons were incredible. Spieth had an incredible season, and many players did. Tiger then had back surgery last week too, so he'll be out until early 2016 again. As I said, the President's Cup will be in a couple weeks, and then most of the main golfers will be back in action probably in middle of October. I know McElroy will be at thefries.com, but otherwise it'll be January again for another hopefully exciting season. A lot of young studs out there that are really good, and a lot of veterans that still have it in it. Hopefully Tiger can come back and do something and be effective again like he has been in the past. So that is your 2014-2015 recap of the golf season, as it was an exciting golf season, and hopefully it can be more exciting in 2016. I'm going to take a quick check back at the Twins game. Right now it is the bottom of the 8th. 4-2 Twins lead with 1 out. Glenn Perkins is in the game. That is a scary thought because Glenn Perkins has been having trouble. But he did get 2 strikeouts and gave up a single. And Michael Brantley's up, so hopefully he can get out of that inning so we can get Jepson in the ball game. Coming up later tonight, Houston is on the road in Seattle. Houston needing to lose to help the Twins. They play at 9:10, and then warming up here starting soon, a little after the hour, will be the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim at home taking on Oakland. That game will be starting soon. The Twins need to win and need a loss by both the Angels and Houston to help them in the playoffs. Well, we're going to take another quick song break. And then come back and talk NFL football week 3 and go over recap the games there. This is Sports Live on Mustang Radio. Welcome back to Sports Live. This is Zach Huntley, and it is 9 o'clock. It is time to talk Week 3 of the NFL. We're going to go over some games, and then at approximately 9:30, I believe Mr. Tyler, my co-host, will call in, and we'll discuss the Vikings game and a couple other games that he liked, and then I kind of got to throw him in because he does owe me dinner. So that'll be nice. So starting off here, I'll let you know the Twins did get out of the 8th, so it is the top of the 9th inning. That game should be done soon. And time for Week 3. Right now, it is at halftime of the Kansas City game. Green Bay up 24-7 there. We'll talk more about that on Wednesday after that one's done. But Week 3 started Thursday night. Redskins and the Giants. And what an interesting game that was. Both Tyler and I picked Washington, figuring, Washington's been playing well. But the New York Giants, I tell you, they are looking good right now. And unbelievable. And it showed... It showed because they pretty much stomped on New York 32-21. The Giants go to 1-2, and the Redskins go to 1-2. And Redskins had the ball early, and they were about to punt when the Redskins went. I believe they ended up going 3-and-out in their first possession of the game. Struggled to get anything going. And then they were ready to punt, and then this ended up happening.
It gets taken off the books. Week 1, Way had a punt return by Jarvis Landry. It was a huge play in that Dolphin victory.
Bursting through, and it was Jennings who got the block, and the ball goes out through the end zone. It's a safety. How about Rashad Jennings? Trying to get there the first time.
So Rashad Jennings would block the punt. Yes, the starting running back would block the punt and give New York a 2-0 lead. Andre Williams would score from 1 yard out to give him a 9-2 lead. And then Josh Brown to end the first quarter gave New York a 12-0 lead. Washington would get on the board in the second quarter of field goals. They would score 2 field goals in the second, and so did New York. So the game was 15-6 at halftime. The Giants would score again to get it to 18-6 in the third as the only scoring play in the third. And then the fourth quarter, some interesting actual touchdowns happened, and first was a 30-yard touchdown catch from Odell Beckham Jr. to get it to 25-6. Chris Thompson had received had a 4-yard pass from Kirk Cousins to get it to 25-14. Reuben Randall then would catch a 41-yard touchdown pass from Eli Manning to get it to 32-14, and then right after that, the Washington Redskins would run back a 101-yard kick return from Rashad Ross to get it to 31-21, and that was the closest it got as the Giants would defeat the Redskins 32-21 again. Another game at noon, the Atlanta Falcons and Dallas Cowboys, and that was a very, very fun and interesting game. Multiple running touchdowns as Devontae Freeman for Atlanta finished with 30 carries, 141 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Joseph Randle finished with 14 carries, 87 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Brandon Whedon starting in for Tony Romo as Romo is hurt. He went 22 of 26 for 232 and no touchdowns. Matt Ryan went 24-36 for 285 yards and 2 touchdowns, while Julio Jones had 12 receptions, 164 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And as Atlanta came back, it was all Dallas. All Dallas. Dallas had ended up having a 28-17 lead at half. They were up at 1 point, 21-7. They ended up, and then going up 28-14. And then Atlanta just went out and just pounded them in the second half to defeat them 39-28. Atlanta goes to 3-0. Dallas goes to 2-1. In Tennessee, the Tennessee Titans at home taking on the Indianapolis Colts, and well, it looked like again the Colts would lose another one. They got a touchdown to go up 7-0, and then went up 14-0 as Dwight Lowery had a 69-yard TD interception return, and see if we can get that highlight up here. Maybe not. Maybe it might happen, but he ended up returning a return, and as soon as I find that game here in a second, there's the game. Of course, it's the last one on there for the noon games. Andrew Luck did struggle, got picked off twice, but did throw 2 touchdown passes late in the game to help a comeback victory, and they don't have it on here. So well, they do have it on there, but we can't get it to work right now. So Indianapolis wins 35-33. Luck finished 18 of 30 for 260 and 2 touchdowns. Marcus Mariota finished 27 of 44 for 367 and 2 touchdowns. Kind of another ugly game, but Indianapolis gets to 1-2. So does Tennessee, or Tennessee falls to 1-2. Oakland taking on Cleveland. This game was pretty boring outright. Oakland wins 27-20 to go to 2-1. Cleveland falls into 1-2. David Carr had a good game. He was 20 for 32 for 314 and 2 touchdowns. Josh McCown starting instead of Johnny Football. Still don't know why that happened, but he went 28 of 49 for 341 and 2 touchdowns. Latavius Murray had 26 carries for 135 and a touchdown. And Amari Cooper had 8 receptions at 134 yards. Another big game by Amari Cooper, and Oakland gets the victory. Cincinnati traveled to Baltimore in a very interesting game, as this one was a shootout. Cincinnati edging out Baltimore 28-24. Dalton would get a 7-yard run to score first early. He would then throw a touchdown pass to Marvin Jones, going up 14-0. On a I believe it was a 4th and 4 for Baltimore at the 50-yard line, Steve Smith was able to catch the ball, get away, and score for a 50-yard touchdown. Justin Tucker would get a field goal to get it within 4. And then C.J. Mosley would take a fumble recovery back for a touchdown on a very interesting play. And then not too long after that, Cincinnati would go downfield in a pretty quick hurry. We get that highlight rolling up here. So Mosley scored with 6:49 left, and it was literally not even barely 10 seconds later. And Andy Dalton connected with A.J. Green.
In a ball game, and they're scoreless in the last 35 minutes here today. Dalton throws. A.J. Green at the 50. Green off to the races. Green still going. A.J. Green at the 5. Touchdown, Cincinnati.
So A.J. Green caught an 80-yard touchdown pass to get it to 21-17. Flacco would then, on their next possession, would hit Steve Smith.
Flacco looking for Smith. Got it! Touchdown, Baltimore!
Wow, there was some contact in the end zone. There's no flag, though.
So Flacco would hit Steve Smith for a 16-yard touchdown pass. And then Andy Dalton, on his next possession, would go downfield. And again, fly downfield. It was kind of like a back and forth fourth quarter. I mean, it was pretty dull for the first 3 quarters, and then went back and forth. And from 7 yards out with 2:10 remaining, Dalton to A.J. Green.
On the play clock, Dalton out of the shotgun, fires for the end zone to Green, and he's got it! Touchdown, Cincinnati! The second of the day for A.J. Green.
So that would give Cincinnati the 28-24 lead. Baltimore tried to make a comeback and couldn't. Max Williams would drop a 4th down catch, 4th and 20, and couldn't get there. Dalton finished with 20 he was 20 of 32 for 383 and 3 touchdowns. Flacco was 32 of 49 for 362 and 2 touchdowns. A.J. Green finished with 10 receptions, a career high 227 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Steve Smith finished with 13 receptions for 186 yards and 2 touchdowns. So a good game there. And then our next game in New England, the New England Patriots taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars in what would be a blowout. A 51-17 win for New England to go 3-0. Jacksonville will go to 1-2. Probably, I would say, the biggest play of this entire game was the... Maybe they don't have it on here. Yes, they do have it on here. It's a touchdown pass late in the second quarter for Tom Brady's 400.
Brady caught, touchdown Amendola. That's touchdown pass number 400. He's in elite company.
So that'd be the 400th touchdown pass for Brady. Otherwise, New England would dominate that game. Next game that we have on here, the Carolina Panthers taking on the New Orleans Saints. Carolina would defeat New Orleans 27-22 in that one. Greg Olsen having a big game for Carolina. He had Josh McCown in the other game, and he had his brother Luke McCown starting instead of Drew Brees, which kind of is a theme. Injured quarterbacks, kind of a theme going on this year. Luke McCown was 31 of 38, though, for 310, so a very good game. Brandon Cooks did finish with 7 receptions and 79 yards. Mark Ingram had 14 carries for 50 yards and a touchdown. Cam Newton finished with, he was 20 of 31 for 315 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Greg Olsen finished with 8 receptions, 134 yards and 2 touchdowns. Carolina goes to 3-0, while New Orleans falls to 0-3. In New York, the Jets took on the Philadelphia Eagles as the Eagles would defeat the Jets 24-17. Probably the best play of that game happened early in the second quarter as Darren Sproles as Philadelphia had a 3-0 lead at this point, only scoring in the first quarter. The Jets had a possession early in the second quarter and then punted on their first possession, and here's what happened.
Here's another punt. Great kick. Sproles all the way back to the 10. Going forward. Sproles making people miss. Still going. Darren Sproles. Look at him go. One man to beat. 89 yards. Touchdown.
Darren Sproles would bring back an 89-yard punt return, and after that, pretty much Philadelphia rolled on there. Sam Bradford finished 14 of 28 for 118 yards, 1 touchdown. Ryan Fitzpatrick finished 35 of 58 for 283 and 2 touchdowns. Ryan Matthews filling in for the injured DeMarco Murray as he didn't play, had 25 carries for 108 yards and had a receiving touchdown. And Brandon Marshall led receptions with 10 receptions, 109 yards, and a TD for the Jets. Next game, Houston and Tampa Bay played in a low-scoring game. Houston would win 19-9 and would get to 1-2 as Tampa would fall to 1-2. Nothing really, anything big happening in that game. Pretty dull game, and Winston having a decent game, 17 of 36 for 261 and 1 touchdown. Ryan Mallett had he was 24-39 for 228 and a touchdown. Alfred Blue had 31 carries for 139 yards and a touchdown. Good for him because in about a couple weeks he won't be playing because Arian Foster will be back. Other than that, we have Pittsburgh and St. Louis. Another low-scoring game, 12-6. Pittsburgh would win. Le'Veon Bell in his first game back had 19 carries, 162 yards, and a touchdown. Antonio Brown had 11 receptions, 108 yards. Ben Roethlisberger finished the game with 20 of 24 for 192 yards. Unfortunately, he did get injured and is out for several weeks. They're hoping his ACL or was it the MCL? Maybe I think it's the MCL. Making sure that's still intact. He's out right now 4 to 6 weeks. I think they put him maybe it's 6 to 8 weeks out, quite a bit. So Michael Vick will be taking over there. And again, low-scoring game. Pittsburgh goes to 2-1, and St. Louis goes to 1-2. Next game in Arizona, the dominating Arizona Cardinals taking on the San Francisco 49ers. And I tell you what, those 49ers sure don't look like the team that played Minnesota anymore. That's how bad you see Minnesota played. It started in the opening, pretty much the opening drive by San Francisco early. Kaepernick decided to do this.
Down and 10 for the 49ers. Blitz coming. Kaepernick gets it away, and it's intercepted. And racing into the end zone is Justin Bethel.
Pick 6 for Arizona there to get them a 7-0 lead. They would then throw another, Kaepernick on the next possession would throw another pick 6 to Tyrann Mathieu, or the Honey Badger. And so San Francisco early out there, and then Chris Johnson had a good game. So that'll be interesting to see what happens there. Kaepernick finished 9-19, 67 yards, no touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Carson Palmer healthy again and is dominating, 20 of 32 for 311 yards, 2 touchdowns. Chris Johnson filling in for Andre Ellington had 22 carries, 110 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And Larry Fitzgerald, or do we call him the young stud again because he is looking young and playing like he's young. 9 receptions, 134 yards, and 2 touchdowns, has been dominating his last few games out. Buffalo taking on Miami in the next game. Buffalo defeated Miami 41-14 to go to 2-1. Miami now down to 1-2. It was pretty much Buffalo from the start. Miami had no answer for them. It was a pretty sloppy play throughout. Tyrod Taylor finished 21 of 29 for 277 yards and 3 touchdowns. Carlos Williams finished with 12 carries, 110 yards and a touchdown. And Charles Clay finished 5 receptions, 82 yards and a touchdown. Ryan Tannehill finished 26 of 49 for 297 yards and 2 touchdowns. And pretty much was a dominating game there. In Seattle, the Seattle Seahawks defeated the Chicago Bears to get to 1-2 as Chicago goes 0-3, 26-0. It was dominating fashion from there. Wrong game I picked. There's that one. Big plays that happened was he had a trick that Seattle did. Tyler Lockett. They all went after him, thought the punt was going to him, and Richard Sherman grabbed it and brought it back 64 yards. They would score on that possession. And then Tyler Lockett in the third quarter would bring the touch or kick return, would start out the second half the way that Seattle would hope they would be playing and haven't been playing, with a 105-yard kick return, and we have that for you.
Let's see, though, what happens with this first possession of the second half, as the Bears, the first 2 games, have seen the opponent take it down the field and drive it for a touchdown the opening 2 weeks. And here's Lockett, the rookie from Kansas State, down the sidelines and unstoppable. 105 yards.
So Lockett would run for 105 yards, and then later in the third quarter, what all Seattle fans are hoping for a lot, Russell Wilson to Jimmy Graham for 30 yards.
There's Wilson. Pocket sealed. Open as Graham slips out of a tackle, and he's in the end zone for the touchdown.
So Jimmy Graham getting a touchdown there late, a couple field goals late, and Seattle would win 26-0. Russell Wilson finished 20 of 30 for 235, 1 touchdown. The young rookie rolls running back for Seattle's as Marshawn Lynch got injured again. He wasn't feeling well. He had 16 carries, 104 yards. Jimmy Graham finished 7 receptions, 83 yards and a touchdown. Jimmy Clausen, who started for Jay Cutler, finished 9 of 17, 63 yards. And Matt Forte finished with 20 carries, 74 yards. And then last night's game, the Denver Broncos went into Detroit and defeated the Lions, 24-12. Detroit goes to 0-3, while Denver goes to 3-0. Another game that was pretty dead, except the play late in the first half, when most people think Peyton Manning is done for. Well, he shows why he's not quite done yet. Of course, we get a commercial, but came down to about seven seconds or so, and you figured Manning would, just run the ball and take it done and end the half, but this is what he did.
Blitz. They're coming, and Manning's going to go for everything, and it's caught, and Thomas will take it into the end zone. Wow. 4th and 1 with all of what was going on. Flag is on the play.
So Peyton Manning would hit Demaryius Thomas for a 45-yard touchdown to end the half. They would take a halftime lead of 14-6 and never look back, winning 24-12. So that's the look at your NFL games. We'll talk about the Vikings here quickly. We'll show you or give you some highlights of that game, and then we'll get Tyler on the phone and talk also quickly before we hit the break. The Twins game did finish, and we'll get to that. Vikings at home taking on San Diego. The Vikings would go on to dominate and win 31-14, and some incredible things happened there. Peterson got his first touchdown in several years from 2 yards out to take it to 10-0 after a Blair Walsh field goal. Keenan Allen would catch a 34-yard pass to end the half to get it to 10-7, but to start the second half, well, all day did his thing like he did back in 2007.
First and 10 at the 43 of San Diego. Peterson, stiff arm, outside. Peterson, Adrian Peterson, cutting to the clear. Peterson is gone. Touchdown, Vikings.
So AP would run for a 43-yard touchdown run, and that would happen. And then in the fourth quarter, with San Diego looking to score again, Chad Greenway. San Diego got it all the way down to I believe it was down to the 9-yard line of Minnesota. And they got it down to the 9-yard line, and then this would happen.
Chargers need a touchdown. Rivers hooks the pass. Intercepted. Chad Greenway is there. And Greenway's got a convoy in front of him. Greenway down the sideline. Chad Greenway's going to take it all the way. Touchdown, Vikings.
So Greenway would take it back 91 yards for touchdown and give the Vikings the 31-14 win. Bridgewater finished 13-24 for 121 yards. Peterson, 20 carries, 126 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Mike Wallace finished with 3 receptions, 49 yards, and no touchdowns. We'll talk more about the Vikings coming up after the break when we get Tyler on the line here. Quick Twins highlight before we hit break. Twins did win 4-2. Malone gets his 9th win. Jepson gets his 14th save. Oakland already has a 1-0 lead going into the bottom of the first, and Houston has a 2-0 lead heading into the bottom of the first. So we need Houston to lose, and so far that's not looking good, but you never know. We're going to take a quick break, come back with some PSAs, do the weather, and then we'll get Tyler on and talk some Vikings football. This is Sports Live on Mustang Radio.
Are you all about the drama? Then come and check out Southwest Minnesota State University's Drama Club every Tuesday at 12:15 in FA 104. The Drama Club produces several shows every year in the Black Box Theater and provides hands-on experiences for anyone involved. The Drama Club is open to all students regardless of major or minor. So if you want to learn more about theater, come and check out Drama Club every Tuesday at 12:15 in FA 104.
Well, we are back for our last about 15-20 minutes of our show, and we're going to get Tyler here on the phone here in a few seconds as soon as he, answers a text message to call. We'll see when that happens here in a few minutes, but again, as I said, Twins did win, and they are now a game behind. A game behind right now in the wild card, and hopefully some things happen to get them farther. Maybe he'll call in soon. We're hoping he does, but we want to get his opinion on the Vikings game since he couldn't make it. And here he is, actually. So time to talk to my co-man, Tyler Meyer. Hey, Tyler, how's it going?
Hey, pretty good. How about you?
Not too bad, not too bad. Having fun without you.
Are you?
Oh, of course I am. So, before we get into the Vikings, I kind of wanted to bring something up. So
I wanted to bring something up again?
Yeah, I want to bring something up. So what are you going to get me for dinner?
Why, did you beat me?
Well, Green Bay is winning, and if I do have a one... we talk more Wednesday, but I do have a one-game lead on you for everything. So you needed Kansas City to win to tie, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen.
Well, they're going to come back. It's all right. It's early.
Yeah, it's 24-7.
Yeah, I know.
But now you had a good. We'll talk more about, but you had a really good college football, though. I think you only had one loss in the college one. I think it was one loss you had, and that was the Missouri-Kentucky game. I had two, but it should have been only one. Minnesota got lucky. But we'll talk more about that on Wednesday. You big guys still in the cities, I think.
Yep.
All right, so you went to the Vikings game like you always do. What'd you think of the game?
I loved it. Once again, the Vikings with Adrian Peterson, running the way he was running again for the second consecutive week. We kind of sat there and started off slow, and then Teddy didn't look as good again, which there might be a cause for concerns there. But as of right now, AP is basically the way I look at it, the AP of the old, carrying the team, and then our quarterback has just got to manage the game, and as long as doesn't have too many turnovers or too many costly penalties, we're going to be right where we need to be with our defense,
Yeah, I thought AP looked good. Not as good as the 2007 AP. Not like that, but
no.
But close. The 40-yard breakout looked kind of like the 65-yard he had in the second half in 07 or whatever. It was kind of similar to that. Bridgewater, I thought, forced a lot of passes, especially the two picks he had, or the one pick, two picks. I thought both of them he forced.
Yeah, you sit there and you look at it, too. There was a lot of times he was getting pressured again with our inexperienced offensive. It kind of sucks, not having, Lone Holt and Sullivan in there. But, they're professional players. They need to learn how to block and stuff like that, but it's just rough when two of your best offensive linemen are non-existent,
Yeah, absolutely. I know that one, but it's been a weird year this year so far in football. A lot of injuries and more quarterbacks going down, and it's kind of like at this point, what do you do anymore in fantasy football? You're losing everybody. You had Big Ben just went down. Luckily, I didn't trade for him. I was going to trade for him in one of my leagues, but didn't. But
right.
Going back to watching that Vikings game, then the defense. So you look at the 180 turnaround from that Monday night game where they gave up 160 yards to Carlos Hyde, and now since then he's only had 90 yards. But the rush defense is just incredible. I think Melvin Gordon ended up only averaging like 3.2 yards a carry. Pass wasn't bad. The pass wasn't bad. It was a couple plays here and there, but the defense just was incredible.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I'm sure you watched most of it.
No, I watched the whole game. Yeah, that was the only game that was on. Unfortunately, it's getting weird now here. They're not playing two games on two channels, but yeah, I watched the game.
Yeah, that the injury to Xavier Rhodes really quieted the fans at TCF too. It was like, oh no.
Yeah, but Trey Waynes played well though when he came in. He played really well. I was very impressed. I was disappointed in him in the preseason, but very impressed. Sounds like Rhodes will be back next week is what the news has came out on that, but that that could change overnight because that's what most injuries have been going overnight. But you watch that defense. Granted they got the lucky wish and a little tip pass for Greenway to run that one back. Oh my, that was very, very fun to watch that play.
Yeah, the funny thing about Greenway is I don't know if you talked about that earlier or whatnot, but it was Greenway's grandpa's.
Yeah, I didn't. I heard about it and haven't talked about it on here yet.
Yeah, it was his first time ever being at Greenway's game as a Viking or even in college, and it was just kind of one of those things where it was like, well, everything came together for it to happen right there,
Yeah, it was one of those cool things, though. And then, of course, you had Mike Zimmer having to apologize to the ref that he kind of took the ref out trying to run down the sidelines.
Yeah, that's true.
But at that point, the game was pretty much over. But, I mean, it was just to watch the game and just watch his team. Now the question is, and I know we'll get more into it Wednesday, but going into Denver and trying to stop a Peyton Manning offense.
Yeah, I feel, 2 straight weeks our defense has been hitting the quarterback a lot. I feel that with the way our defense is set up, I feel if we get the Manning early, that I feel like maybe he will be flustered and maybe we'll see sort of like he was week 1 and not looking as good as what he has the last 2 weeks. But it's going to be a tough challenge. They got a pretty decent offensive line, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's the offensive line has gotten better for them, but we'll get more of that on Wednesday when we do our pick'em and talk about the week 4. Now that we did talk about the Vikings, and I know I did talk quite a bit about this early in the show, but your take on the Twins weekend that they had, and then tonight's game, of course.
The Twins weekend was pretty decent. Granted, we didn't gain any more ground, evidently, but we kind of, like we've been saying all along, we've been hanging, just waiting for that opportunity, which we lost a couple opportunities. On the one on Friday night was huge. We had that 4-run lead and we blew it, and everybody lost that needed to, and now we're still just. We won again tonight. It was a good game to watch. And then now I think Anaheim was losing, but Astros were winning.
Yeah, it's 1-0 Oakland in the top of the second, and it's 2-1 now Houston in the top of the second. So a long way to go in those games. But yeah, it was like I've said earlier in the show. They're playing better, and it's like they know now how to. It's like they're getting taught, or they're getting taught how to play this kind of baseball. I mean, we're a week left in the regular season. This was I was listening to or watching the pregame show, and Roy Smalley says about 3 or 4 weeks ago he was listening or looking at the schedule, and this was the week that he looked at, or the 4-game series at Cleveland. That was like, it's going to probably come down to this. This is going to be the critical series, and it's going to be the critical series. But got one out of the way, got 3 more to go, but it's kind of like they're starting to hit the ball better on the road than they are at home, and it's like, can they keep this up, win 4 games in Cleveland, and hopefully they get some losses out of L.A. and Houston.
Yeah, I think Cleveland, I think this loss here just kind of took all the wind out of their coffin. I think that we should be able to win 3 out of the 4 at least, and then make it interesting for the last series, of course.
Yeah, that's not unusual in Twins baseball at all. But they did have to face Kluber tonight. Played him pretty well, but they do not have to face Danny Salazar in this series, so that'll help.
Yeah.
It sounds like Phil Hughes, who was supposed to pitch tonight, he'll pitch Friday night now against Kansas City. Saturday, they've moved the game up from 6:30 to a noon start because Fox has picked that up as a national televised game. You could tell it's the last week in the series when that's happening. Especially in the last 4 years, they haven't had to do that because the Twins were usually out.
Yeah, that's true.
And so that's been like it's been a good weekend, and it's kind of like Perkins blew the game there. They lost a game that they should have won, but I mean to get a big W tonight. I mean, and then Gibson, can he turn that around that he had from the last start? And then you got Pelfrey. Who knows with Pelfrey anymore? What you're gonna get out of him? Go ahead, Tom.
I say that we don't even let Pelfrey pitch that game. To be honest, I feel like we bring Ricky Nolasco in, and with him coming back off the DL, I feel like you gotta throw him, because Pelfrey hasn't had it. He pitched that 7 innings. I think it was Friday night, and granted he should have got the win, but we ended up blowing that game, so he unfortunately did not. But I don't know if you or Paul Molitor, as if you sit there and have enough confidence in Pelfrey to go out and pitch that game. I don't know.
Well, at this point, you have to. I mean, Nolasco hasn't pitched in 5 months, 4 months, 3 months, something like that. You got Duffy that'll go Thursday, or is it Friday? Thursday night. He'll go Thursday. You're not going to move him up because you don't want to overpitch him. Pelfrey is a veteran, and he can pitch well when he can. And the thing is that I've seen or have noticed is that they haven't been able to give him any run protection at all. It's just kind of like Pelfrey will go pitch 7 good innings. He'll give up 2 runs, but the problem is we're down 2-0 going into the 8th.
That's true.
But I mean, this is probably, as Roy Smalley said, the most critical series you can get. I mean, if you sweep Cleveland, that knocks them out. So you'll lose one team. Now you're hoping, L.A. You're already going to gain a game. Both L.A. and Minnesota will gain a half a game on Thursday, no matter what, because of Houston having the day off. So they'll gain that extra half game. So that can move to a full game. You're just hoping that, Seattle help, because it's here. Houston's got Seattle on the road, and they go to Arizona for the last week. So you're hoping you get help out of those 2 teams. Houston hasn't played well on the road. And then you got L.A., who's got Oakland now for 4, and then they got Texas for the last 3 on the road. Oh. So, I mean, you're hoping you get some help out of some of these opponents that can, you look at it on paper, it looks like the Twins have the worst out of the 3, or out of the 2. Yeah,
it's going to be interesting. I've said it all along that they were going to make the playoffs, but I don't know. It's going to be tough, but we're just going to have to see what happens, I guess.
Yeah, we're going to have to see what happens. And they've gone over my projected wins. I had them at 80 and 82, and they have now won 81 games after tonight. So they proved me wrong, except I was really close. I thought I had 80 pretty much spot on. So we will talk to you Wednesday again, and we'll get some, picks in again and talk about how my Gators are now in the top 25, so we get to pick that game, actually.
Yep.
Except they're playing like a top 3 team, so I'll expect that lunch on Wednesday, though.
All right.
All right, we'll talk to you later and see you on Wednesday.
All right.
All right, thanks for calling.
Yep, thanks.
Yep, see ya.
Bye.
Well, that was Tyler there on his talk about the Vikings and a little bit about the Twins. But again, bottom of the second right now in LA, it is 1-0 Oakland, and going to the bottom of the second, it's 2-1 Houston. As I'm going to look and see what else we have going on. It doesn't look like much here left, so we got about, 3 minutes or so, not quite 3 minutes, and then Muna will be taking over to end your night. So we're going to wrap up a few minutes early as I've ran out of content. Twins win, talked about all the football, and gave the review of golf of the season. So coming up on Wednesday, as we will post on the Facebook page, we will talk. Tyler will be back, so we could have even more fun. We will talk Twins, talk about the game. Talk about the game, sorry about that. Talk about the game, the Twins games from tomorrow, and then the one that will be in progress on Wednesday. We will talk about college football. We'll recap week 4, I believe, was this, or is it week 3 this week? Week 4. Week 4 it is. We'll recap week 4 and preview week 5 of college football. And then we will talk NFL and do our picks for both and have much more fun. But that's going to end tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you guys on Wednesday. This has been Sports Live with Zach Huntley on Mustang Radio.